Conspiracy theorists of the world, believers in the hidden hands of the Rothschilds and the Masons and the Illuminati, we skeptics owe you an apology. You were right. The players may be a little different, but your basic premise is correct. The world is a rigged game. Matt Taibbi. Here are 25 conspiracy theories that actually ended up being true. 25. The 1919 World Series was thrown. Often referred to as the Black Sox Scandal, 8 White Sox players were accused of throwing the World Series in 1919. When the story broke late in 1920, the players were acquitted because throwing games wasn't technically a crime. 24. The government poisoned alcohol during Prohibition. When people continued to drink after alcohol was banned, the government basically tried to prevent moonshiners from cooking up more alcohol by spoiling their ingredients. Because the moonshiners didn't stop, many of them ended up getting sick and even dying. 23. Car companies bought up and destroyed streetcars. According to a report done by Congress in 1974, car companies bought up and then destroyed many of the streetcars and rail connections in the United States in the 1930s in order to increase demand for cars. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you were stuck in traffic this morning. 22. Area 51 is a top-secret military installation. In July 2013, following an FOIA request that was filed in 2005, the CIA publicly acknowledged the existence of Area 51 for the first time. 21. French soldier Alfred Dreyfus was framed. Known today as the Dreyfus Affair, Alfred Dreyfus was accused of treason in 1894 for selling secrets to Germany. In 1906, he was finally pardoned, and it was revealed that he was in fact a scapegoat. The real traitor had been quietly acquitted, but due to Dreyfus's Jewish heritage, he made an easy target. 20. The CIA conducts mind control experiments. Project MKUltra, a CIA program that performed mind control and drug experiments on civilians, was revealed in 1975 during congressional investigations and hearings. 19. The CIA cleaned the records of Nazi scientists so they could be recruited by the government. A precursor to Project MKUltra, Project Paperclip was a CIA operation that bleached the records of former Nazi scientists so they could be authorized to work for the US. The paperclips that secured their new histories to their files were what gave the operation its name. 18. The IRS is targeting people politically. In 2013, during the IRS targeting controversy, it was revealed that the IRS had singled out various conservative groups and subjected them to significant scrutiny. 17. The NSA is listening to you. This one probably needs no explanation. The recent NSA scandal that broke out as a result of revelations by Edward Snowden has led to international repercussions. 16. The US is secretly selling weapons to Iran. Now known as the Iran-Contra affair, during Reagan's second term, it was revealed that senior officials were in fact secretly selling weapons to Iran and funding the Contras in Nicaragua. 15. The CIA has secret prisons. Known as black sites before President Bush acknowledged their existence in 2006, NGOs and human rights groups were adamant about claiming they existed. 14. The KGB was involved in the Kennedy assassination. But probably not the way that you think. When a former KGB official defected to the UK in 1992, he brought along several documents that are now known as the Mitrokhin Archive. One of the things detailed in these papers was the fact that the KGB had attempted to spread misinformation about the Kennedy assassination. As part of their war with the CIA, they were actually trying to spread conspiracy theories. 13. The US started fighting in Vietnam due to a ghost attack. Now known as the Gulf of Tonkin incident, in 1964, several Vietnamese vessels fired on American ships. This was the official start of the conflict between the two nations. What had actually happened was that American warships fired on something they assumed was an enemy vessel during the night. The next day, it became clear that the enemy vessels were simply due to bad weather. By that point, however, the US was already in full retaliation mode. In 2005, the NSA acknowledged that although they knew the attack was bogus, because the wheels of war had already started turning, they just let it go. 12. The WWE is scripted. So, this one might not come as a surprise, but in 2013, a Redditor by the name of Dolphins1925 began releasing the winners for every single match beforehand. 11. The CIA influences the media. Operation Mockingbird was a secret campaign that was started in the 1950s by the CIA with the intention of influencing the media. 10. Wealthy businessmen are trying to overthrow the US government. In what has come to be known as the business plot, Major General Smedley Butler testified before Congress that several businessmen were trying to recruit him to overthrow the government and install a dictatorship. It was largely dismissed as hearsay, and nobody was prosecuted, although most historians agree that there was at least talk of a plot. 9. The FBI conspires against civil activists. Successfully kept a secret until 1971, COINTELPRO, Counterintelligence Program, was an FBI project intended to discredit and infiltrate various political organizations. 8. Propaganda started the Gulf War. Now seen as a textbook case of atrocity propaganda, in 1990, a girl going by Naira testified before Congress about how Iraqi soldiers were looting Kuwaiti hospitals and killing babies. It was later revealed that her full name was Naira Al-Saba, and that she was the daughter of the Kuwaiti ambassador to the US, and that the story about Iraqi soldiers killing babies was a fabrication. Apparently, the Kuwait government just wanted to manipulate the United States into fighting their war. They were successful. 7. Scientologists are into some pretty shady stuff. It's true. Now known as Operation Snow White, this was the name for a massive infiltration mission pulled off by the Church of Scientology in 30 countries in order to get rid of unfavorable records. To this day, Operation Snow White remains the largest infiltration of the US government on record. 6. The president is abusing his power to spy on people and bully opponents. The infamous Watergate scandal catapulted this conspiracy theory into reality. The Nixon administration was accused of wiretapping opponents, harassing activist groups, and using the FBI, CIA, and IRS. Things eventually came to light, and the Supreme Court ordered the Nixon administration to hand over evidence. Facing certain impeachment in Congress, Nixon resigned. 5. The government planned terrorist attacks on its own people. Operation Northwoods was a plan put forth by the Department of Defense to stage terrorist attacks on American civilians and frame the Cuban government. This plan was swiftly rejected by the Kennedy administration. 4. The government withholds medications from people who need them. Known as the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, in 1972 it was revealed that for the last 40 years, the Public Health Service had been performing a clinical study on African American men in rural Alabama who had syphilis. In 1940, when penicillin was developed as a cure to the illness, it was not administered to the patients. Drastic legal changes were made with regards to performing clinical studies following the revelations. 3. The military has investigated using psychic abilities. As crazy as this sounds, the Stargate Project was an actual army unit created to investigate the possibility of using psychic phenomena on the battlefield. It was shut down in 1995 because it was not being productive. 2. Asbestos is dangerous. Although it was suspected for years, 1970s court documents allege that the government had known about the dangers of asbestos since the 1930s, but had concealed them. The asbestos manufacturing companies are even worse. Still today, they deny that asbestos has any negative medical effects in spite of the fact that medicine says otherwise. 1. The military has a plan to suspend the Constitution and impose martial law. Rex 84, Readiness Exercise 1984, was a classified drill developed by the US government to suspend the Constitution, impose martial law, and detain any Americans deemed security threats. It was brought up during hearings concerning the Iran-Contra affair. If you liked our list on conspiracy theories, then be sure to check out our friends over at Alltime Conspiracies and their video, Did Nazis Create a Nuclear Bomb on the 14th of July? And as always, don't forget to help us consistently conciliate curiosity by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing.